Okay, so I've had a break. I didn't have a Kit Kat. Wait, I do have a Kit Kat. Huh. I've heard I made that joke so many times it shouldn't still be surprising. Right, and the next stage, I'm gonna get my head straight, is to insert the foam stabiliser inside the 2 layers. Might be a bit overkill, but I do like how sturdy it is, and it should stand up by itself. So overkill, maybe. I'd rather overkill than leave it alive. Right, foam stabiliser in here. I still have to cut that because all of my project bags are full, and until I finish this I don't have time or energy to make another. So rather than cut everything, put it in a project bag, well, it doesn't help that I'm making this up as I go, so I'm not always entirely sure how big to cut things, so I decided to cut as I go as well. Anyway, yeah, so I've got the foam stabiliser to cut, and then top stitch along here, fold that in, top stitch along there, and I've got to measure. Right, we need to cut 7.5. This is why I'm using inches, is because my mat is in inches. I do also think in inches better, to be honest. 7.5. Actually, I think we'll get away with 7.25 to save trimming. So when I did this side, I cut and I had to trim, put it in, work out that it doesn't fit, take it out, trim it, and then repeat. 7.5, and that's 6.5, so we'll do 7.25 by 6.25. This is the foam stabiliser. It is massive and already covered in cap. That's where I cut the heart out, because I wanted the cover applique to stand out a little bit. Get my quilting, and last time I used my rotary cutter, but I made a right mess, so we're going to do, I know I said 7.25, but I'm going to mark at 7.5 because this edge is really bad. I did a terrible job. I'll put my chalk pens away. Okay, so I'll use yellow. 7. Wait, I keep doing this. I'm marking the wrong edge. As it happens, I do need 6.5. Well, 6.25, but the number of times I have cut the fabric too small because I've marked the wrong edge. Ugh. And I'm going to use my big scissors to cut this because my regular fabric scissors are going to struggle, I think. My big scissors. I bought a scissor sharpener from Fiskars and tried it, and if anything, it's actually blunted the edges of my scissors even more. So the scissors that I would normally use for cutting fabric are now my backup scissors, because there's only a small section of the blade that actually works. And I don't know if I didn't use the sharpener correctly, or I mean, that's the likeliest answer. out of the way. And somehow it's stained because it's been on the shelf, the middle shelf of my cart, which is under where my drinks go, and I guess spill. Whoops. Chop this head off. So I did say that, yeah, it was wrong scissors. These are my middle scissors, which I use for, in this case, trimming, but usually fabric cutting because they are better. And chopping off about, I think it's probably an eighth or so of an inch, which means it's still an eighth wider than it probably needs to be, but we'll see. This is where I say this is the fun part, but it's really not. It does not want to go in. Chop another bit off. If you start small, I learnt this on one of my first projects. You trim off the tiniest amounts possible, and then you can always take off more. Whereas if you take off too much in the start, you can't add it back, unlike the digital world. I think it's more or less the right width. Actually, might have chopped off too much. What was I saying? Yes. The irony. Yeah. Take off another bit on the long edge, and that should do it. No more on the short edge. Hi, Kit Kat. Hi, baby. You wondering who I'm talking to? No? You used to me talking to myself. I don't actually talk to myself much. Pardon me. Okay, that corner is annoying. That corner off. Right. And now, I'm using my wonderful fabric clips that's not in the edge properly. To make sure it stays where it's put. While I sew the bottom edge.